Hey guys, Manny here. How you doing today? Been trying to do this episode for a minute now, but life gets in the way and all kinds of different stuff. Anyway, wanted to talk today about vintage lenses. Yeah, vintage lenses are just as good as new lenses, but a lot less money. Um, but there's some caveats there. Obviously, um, vintage lenses are more set up. They're not made for the new sensors, and they're probably not as sharp edge to edge, and the technology is not as great on these lenses. But they're still great lenses. Most of the greatest photographs of the world were taken with these, vintage lenses. And, nobody really cared back then because it's like nobody looked at the edge to edge sharpness of a photograph because it wasn't important. What the important, and it still it should be, is the image, not, how sharp it is edge to edge. You're not going to look at some great photograph and go, oh, God, the corners are just a little soft. It doesn't matter. You're going to look at the picture and go, wow, that's an amazing picture. You don't really care about everything else. And necessarily pictures don't even have to be sharp to be great. They just don't. They just have to be good. That's all they have to do. The photograph is be good. So, but there are a few things about using vintage lenses that are a little lot different than using the new lenses. First of all, unless you have a Nikon DSLR, most Nikon DSLRs, especially the pro versions, or Leicas, you're going to have to put an adapter on the lens. Because they just won't. There's no vintage Sony lenses that are going to fit on Sony cameras. There's no vintage, Panasonic lenses. You're going to have to get an adapter, and then with that adapter, you're not going to be able to shoot auto anything. It's going to have to go all manual. You're going to have to meter properly. And then the biggest thing is you're going to have to manually focus. Now, back in the day on film cameras, they were meant to shoot manual focus lenses. I mean, they most of them, not until a whole lot, closer to digital did they start doing autofocus lenses. You had to manually focus your lens on everything. It didn't matter what you were shooting, whether you're shooting sports, whether you're shooting, weddings, whether you were shooting, just out doing pictures. You had to manually focus, or it was a fixed focus lens or something. But the cameras, those days were meant to use these lenses, and so they had brighter viewfinders, or they had their own little focus assist things, which was like split screens, or micro prism screens. When I was working for AP, doing a lot of sports, that had some special, laser cut, ground glass kind of matte focusing screens that were very bright and very easy to focus. But in general, most of the new cameras don't have that. I mean, they might have some focus assists on there, focus peaking or something. Again, that's going to kind of slow you down. So remember that. It's just, you're going to have to set your aperture manually. It's not going to be able to do it for you. You're going to have to manually shoot these lenses and manually focus them. They're a bit of a pain in the butt compared to the newer lenses. As far as, sharpness or fringing or whatever, honestly, it's like, who cares? It doesn't matter. If it's a great picture, it's a great picture. That's all that matters. And if you're having fun, that's all that matters. And if you're happy with the way the image looks, that's all you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need to be shooting charts and doing all these graphs and doing everything else. It's just like, go have fun. Most of these vintage lenses are a lot less expensive than newer lenses. Actually, there are some, good lenses that are a few years old that are still manual focus, I mean, autofocus, and will work with your camera and everything. And theirs are still great. There's still nothing wrong with getting used lenses. I don't buy anything new. I just don't. I refuse. And I'm not going to go getting a Nikon Z because then I have to buy all my lenses all over again. And I am not doing that. That's just a big waste of money. And I'm not going to put, adapters on them or anything else. No, I'm happy with my Nikon lenses on my Nikon cameras. I have a handful of autofocus lenses, but they're the older ones, and they work just great for me. There's no problem with them whatsoever. Again, I shoot all black and white. I mainly shoot black and white. Uh, Nothing, I don't care about purple fringing or whatever, and I don't care if it's sharp corner to corner. I care about what the image looks like overall. So, The only thing you have to worry about with vintage lenses is the lens okay as far as mechanically. It doesn't have any fungus on it. The yeah, aperture blades are they're clean and not full of gunk and everything. I mean, does the lens work? Having some dust inside, not that big a deal. Small scratch on the front element, not that big a deal. You're not. It's not going to show in your pictures. Just too close, and it won't see it. You just won't see it. So don't worry about that. But the main thing you got to worry about is fungus, and oil and gunk on the lenses and the internal elements. So be careful when you buy a used lens. Make sure you get it from. I prefer buying my lenses from like KEH or B&H because I know they've been tested and looked over and made sure that they're working and everything. So I trust them a lot. Now I also bought I just bought another lens from yeah, I know, gas. Okay, I shouldn't have bought it, but I bought it on store credit. I had some store credit with them, with my local camera store, and I bought a Vivitar 135 2.8. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it's sharp. And if it's not, well, hey, it is what it is, and I'll use it the way you know I think best. If it's not sharp, I'll just do some fun things with it. But I don't really care. I have some examples here of some manual lenses that I used to use or that I still use. I have a 50 millimeter macro. I have a 105 macro Nikons. I got a couple old sports images that were shot with a Nikon F3. Using a 400 millimeter 3.5 wide open and a 180 2.8 wide open. You had to follow focus for these. There was no autofocus or anything. You had to follow focus. You had to know how to focus your camera. Shooting film, I have the split screen viewfinder and I have the micro prism viewfinder so I can make sure that things are in focus. It just helps because, like I said, I'm mainly shooting film, although I did shoot with my digital camera just the other day, and I did use manual focus lenses. I got that new Minolta XG9. I really like that little camera. Oh man! And I'll show you some pictures I did with that. Um, some macro stuff. I got a 50 millimeter macro, and man, that thing is just tack sharp. I love that camera. I love that lens. Um, it's a lot of fun. It's a nice little lens. It reminds me a lot of an FM. I'm not a camera collector, although I probably should. With the amount of cameras I have now, I probably should be calling myself a camera collector. Instead of referring to it as, gear acquisition and don't gas, I should be, oh no, I'm a camera collector. When it comes to lenses or gear, guys, get what you can afford, get what feels nice to you, get what feels right to you, and just use that. And learn your equipment. That's the main thing. Is you got to learn the equipment. If it has any little tiny quirks or anything, is like learn to work with them. I mean, a lot of vintage lenses I bought are very inexpensive, so I can't even like sell them back because I'm not going to get anything. It's like probably cost me more in gas money to take them down to the camera store to try and sell them back than it would to what I make on them. The main thing is just to go out, have fun. That's what photography is supposed to be about. It's about having fun, worrying about edge to edge sharpness or if everything has the proper contrast or whatever. If the lenses is the best or whatever. Just have fun. Just have fun taking some pictures. I may do some stuff a little while with I got a Holga plastic lens that has a Nikon mount, so I may take that out and play around with that, and have some fun. Please subscribe, like the video, share it. If you please, buy me a cup of coffee. Go visit my website, take a look around there, see what I've been doing. There's some new stuff up there. I'm gonna try and put stuff up every once in a while. New stuff up. Um, you know, so just go out and have fun, take pictures. Let me know what you guys are taking pictures of. Let me know what you might want to see next. I'm kind of thinking about what I might want to do. So for the next video, so let me know. Give me some ideas in the comments, whatever. So okay, great. Thank you very much. You guys have fun taking pictures. Take care.